Welcome to Whisky Live 2024. I am here today with my good friend Ryan Worthington. You may know him from Instagram as Worthington Photos. Ryan, how are you going?
Yeah, very well.
Excited for the show?
Oh, always.
There's loads of great brands here today, guys, so please stay tuned. We're going to have a chat with a few of them, showcase some lovely whiskies, but we've also bought a couple of our own special treats, something that Ryan's actually working with me on. So stay tuned. We've got some exciting stuff that we will show you there.
Absolutely.
Make sure that you stay tuned to the end of the episode as well, and you'll find out what our favorite dram of the day is. So, with that said, let's get involved. Guys, we are here at Whisky Live and I am joined by the wonderful Janice with Bushmills Irish Whiskey. Now Janice, you've just moved over and you are the new UK brand ambassador.
Indeed I am.
Amazing.
One of the luckiest roles out there as well. But yeah, I've been working with Irish whiskey for a good few years now, and yeah, now it's Bushmills delicious single malt Irish whiskies.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your new role. You'll probably notice Janice from some of our previous content, but today we're with Bushmills Irish Whiskey. Tell us, what have you got here? What's exciting? What's going on at Bushmills?
Beautiful. Okay, so, well, I am the lucky person to be on the stand representing what is officially the world's oldest licensed distillery.
Right.
You know, that is why we proudly have 1608 written on our bottle.
Absolutely.
It is absolutely incredible to have that accolade. But I'm going to start you off with what I think is just a beautiful intro into the Bushmills family of just, when you think Irish whiskey, it's just that crisp, clean orchard fruit, barley sweetness, and I think the Bushmills 10 is just a lovely one to start you off with.
Making me thirsty already.
Yeah,
Go
just
on.
that lovely breakfast whiskey as well, of just
Lovely.
something that isn't aggressive, very, very approachable. We are looking at a triple distilled single malt here. So you're going to get that Irish whiskey softness, smoothness, approachability. See what I mean about that?
Straight away, orchard
Straight
fruits.
off,
Yeah,
apples, pears.
Apples and pears, it's beautiful.
There is a consistent note in Bushmills as well, that's honey. So I would say apples, pears, honey, a little bit of milk chocolate comes through. And what I love about this one as well, it kind of sets what you're going to eventually taste in the others, but it develops. It gets stronger. You know, by the time that you go on to the 21 from the 10, you're looking at Manuka honey rather than just the regular honey.
Right. It gets a bit thicker.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Love it.
What do we think? Do we like it?
I really like it. It's very light, very approachable. And sorry, this is triple distilled single malt.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
So not pot still.
So we're not looking at single pot still. It's 100% malted barley, triple distilled. And the distillery is located typically top of the north coast of Ireland, County Antrim, about a 5-minute drive away from the Giant's Causeway, that iconic Irish landmark, one of the most beautiful coastlines in the world.
Yeah,
what's really special
view
about it though as well, if you're on that coastline, you have a clear day, you can actually see Isla. Just literally see it in the distance.
Amazing,
so the dream is one day to create some form of whiskey ferry to go from one to the other, but
God, don't. That would be amazing.
Incredible.
Fantastic.
You know, the dream.
This is really, really lovely. And the way you say a breakfast whiskey, I think if you were starting out for the evening or the afternoon and wanted a dram, this is definitely the one to get going
we're
with, right?
at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon at this point.
I
here.
know,
And
right?
at a whiskey festival, you gotta start off with those wines.
No, it's really wonderful, really soft and very, very approachable. So what's the ABV on this one?
So you're looking 40% ABV throughout the entire family until we get to the 25 and the 30-year-old where we get to 46.
Okay. Fantastic. And for everyone at home, this is quite an accessible product. Where are we at price point on this?
It's like £30. It's
which, I mean, for 10-year-old Irish whiskey, you can't really complain,
absolutely
right?
incredible. And to have that age statement on the bottle as well. You know, I'm a firm believer that age is just a number when it comes to whiskies, but for an awful lot of people, that age statement does mean a lot. So it is nice to have, look, 10-year-old minimum went into that cask. Sherry and bourbon matured. Now it's the only one that is just sherry and bourbon matured. Everything else that we have in the Bushmills family, you get a specific cask finishing. So that's the next one that I'm going to give to you.
Oh, please. Okay, so what's the cask finishing
with the Bushmills 16, so you're looking at sherry and bourbon matured and a port pipe finishing for several months. So port and Irish whiskey just absolutely is a marriage made in heaven. So rather than your crisp, clean, orchard fruits, this is your glass here?
It is indeed, yeah.
We have an amalgamation of glasses on this table at the moment. So you're going to move away from that crisp, clean orchard fruit into deep, rich, dark dates, prunes.
Okay.
The nose for this for me is sticky toffee pudding because of the dates, so the toffee sauce that's in it as well.
I know what you mean. Yeah, lovely. There's still an element of lightness to it. I get a bit of plumminess to it, but I know what you mean.
Absolutely.
It's
dark fruit, like even does get that little bit of stone fruit too.
But still 40%.
Yes.
Really interesting. It's a lot richer on the nose.
That's what port.
Really,
but
really
that
interesting.
port influence just absolutely knocks us out of the park.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Sticky toffee pudding. It's
Yeah.
coming through. Not quite
A
as
lovely
sticky,
bit of
but it's that
spice.
toffiness.
Yeah.
Lovely spice. The wood balance is just
Yeah.
wonderful there. And so, sorry, what's the finishing period on this? How long?
So
has it been?
several months in port pipes. So
But
up
only
to
several
a year.
months.
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking. I mean, by the
That's
flavour.
how powerful those port pipes are.
And
like,
so you're using
absolutely.
fresh wood then, yeah?
So we
Okay.
have our sherry and bourbon mature finished in the port pipes, and then for the 21, it's a 2-year finishing in Madeira cask. So we do go higher in the middle. And by the time we get to the 25 and the 30-year-old, the 25 is 21-year finishing in ruby port pipes. The 30-year-old is like a 14 years spent in sherry and bourbon, and then your 16 years spent in PX cask. So like, we have a lot of beautiful casks just sitting there. Look, that's the beauty of being one of the oldest distilleries out there, is that we are sitting on some delicious high-age statement whiskies.
For sure. It's so wonderful to see you so passionate. I mean, you're always so passionate when I talk to you about any of the whiskies that you worked with, but I can see your passion for Bushmills coming across here. You've got a lot of interesting stuff that's going on. Is there anything else that's going to be new or coming out? Anything that people can look out for?
Oh my God! Well, I've been working with them for 2 months, and in my time frame, there has been a 44 released, a 36-year-old released.
Wow.
A 31-year released. I brought out and I did a tasting in the whiskey shop 2 days ago of it. So a lot of just these delicious aged casks finally been used.
Great. So this is an amazing core range that is widely accessible. And again, price point on the
So
on
you're
the port
looking at
finish?
$89.90 recommended retail. That's very
Again,
specific.
listen, if we're talking about 16-year-old whiskey, not that age matters, but I mean, it's sat in my glass here, and the fact that you're talking a matter of months or maybe a year in port, the flavour really, really comes through, guys. So really quality products at actually very accessible prices. But then you've got a whole wealth of really exclusive products for those with a little bit deeper pockets and looking for something special to enjoy with their family and friends.
There's a few that are going up to, there's the $2,000 mark is where we're hitting for the 30-year-old, which is part of our permanent collection.
Fantastic.
So we have such a huge wide range. So if anyone fancies in collecting some delicious high-age statement Irish whiskies, Bushmills is definitely the way to go.
And if you're not a collector and you're somebody who wants to crack open a bottle, these core range products are absolutely delicious. I'm going to really enjoy this portwood. Thank you so much for sharing.
Much appreciated.
It's lovely to see you again, Janice.
Lovely seeing you again.
Thank you, everyone at home. This has been Bushmills at Whisky Live.
So I'm with Mark here from Bladnoch Distillery at Whisky Live. So Mark, I mean, I've always seen Bladnoch, but never actually had the privilege to try it. So tell me a little bit about it. What's a good go-to?
Well, a little bit about the distillery before we start. We are the oldest independently owned distillery in Scotland. We've been around since 1817. In 2015, we were bought by an Australian businessman, so we've gone back to being independently owned.
Oh, fantastic.
And in 2017, we did a rebrand. So what we've got here is a mixture of our twin cask series, and then we've also got our age statements here as well. So let's start with this one here. This one is our Samsara. This one's matured in Californian red wine and ex-bourbon. All of our whiskey is 46.7 ABV. And so if you were to put in some ice, it's not going to go cloudy or anything like that. All of our whiskey is non-chill filtered, so we keep in those natural oils and fats that you find in whiskey. Kind of gives that really nice mouth finish as well. I think with this one, it's a really nice one even after you've sort of swallowed it. You're still getting that kind of like chewy taste experience afterwards.
Interesting. So is that the reason you go for like this similar sort of strengths on the board, just kind of keep it a little bit on that flavour profile?
So the only exception is the Leora. So the Leora is strength at 52%. So cask strength one. This one's new oak and ex-bourbon. But the rest of them, we just wanted to make sure that we were still getting the strong flavours coming through. With it being 46, it is you're getting that sort of like nice.
It's not
it's strong.
overpowering. Yeah,
it's not overpowering.
Yeah,
and also. It's just a really nice sort of like.
Which you're right, like on the nose, it's not overpowering. It's nice and smooth on the back finish as well.
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, definitely a good kind of percentage to meet in the middle a little bit as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fantastic.
So within the range, the Vinaya is sort of like our go-to entry-level whiskey.
Yeah.
This one is matured in ex-sherry, ex-bourbon. And this one is sort of like a nice real representation of what a Lowlands whiskey should and could be. You taste this, and I've got another glass here for you.
Yeah, fantastic.
You're sort of like getting like the fresh cut grass, a little bit floral, picking up on the apple, like fresh cut apples as well.
Fantastic, thank you. So if people are quite new to like your regions and all that kind of thing, this would be a perfect entry jam for them to kind of pick out those key regional differences in whiskey then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, back in the day, a lot of Lowland whiskey did used to be triple distilled.
Yeah.
We've not done that at Bladnoch, but I think the way that you get sort of like an approachableness with triple distilled whiskey, you get that with Bladnoch.
Yeah.
It's very, very easy to drink. It's full of flavour. 90% of our barrels that we use are first fill.
Yes.
So you're getting the strength of flavour coming through.
Which explains that quite, it's still quite fresh, but it's still quite pungent with all them flavours like you're saying, the grass, the apple, it's all coming through really nicely. Which I think certainly like for someone, as I said, I've not tried Bladnoch before, but it's kind of coming as an entry level. I mean, that's a really fresh, lovely dram, which if you're trying to compare like what a Lowland whiskey should come to, it's exactly what you picture, which is really interesting. Yeah.
And maybe another one to try, which is quite an unusual one maybe for a Lowlands distillery, is the Alinta here. So with the Alinta, we have gone for our first peated whiskey. It was released in 2021. It's matured in ex-bourbon and Pedro Jimenez. We've got our peat from Aberdeenshire rather than Islay, so it's quite a little bit softer, a little bit more approachable peat.
So the nice traditional, like most people would go to.
Yes, sometimes like some Islay peat can be a little bit more TCB, a little bit medicinal. So I think we've married together sort of like the sweetness and peat. You're kind of almost getting like a smoky creme brulee on this one.
Interesting.
You're getting like campfire.
Yes.
And
but on a bit of a smoother level almost then compared to the others.
And like with the names of all our whiskies as well. So we've got the Vinaya, Leora, Samsara, and Alinta. Might be wondering about the names.
Yeah, because they're all very interesting, like for the statements. Yeah.
So our owner, our new owner, David Pryor, he is Australian. One of his parents is Indian heritage as well. So the names of these bottles will come from either like Indian Sanskrit. Or from Aboriginal Australian. So we are sort of like taking like the new generation of Bladnoch. We are sort of like representing who is our owner. Like that's a part of like Bladnoch today, and I think that's quite important. So Vinaya means sort of like paying homage and gratitude to those generations that have gone before you. And that's very much what we're doing at Bladnoch, because when we were bought, David bought it with warehouses filled with barrels of whiskey. From like the previous owners, the Armstrong brothers. Leora, that means gift of light. Samsara means rebirth, really sort of like going into that rebirth of a distillery. And Alinta, our peated one, that is sort of like, it means fire and flames in Aboriginal. Really sort of like giving sort of like tribute to the campfire peat that you would get.
Which like you say is coming through really nice. And I think it's good as well, like when you've got names like that aren't just there for any other reason. You've got that kind of ethos behind the brand pushing through as well, which is really, really good.
And then,
but no, that's stunning.
Obviously, we've got our age statements at the end here. We've got the 11-year-old here, matured exclusively in ex-bourbon. The 14-year-old is exclusively Oloroso Sherry. The 19 is exclusively Pedro Jimenez. So really rich flavours there. but really well balanced as well. For something like the 19 that isn't just exclusively PX, it doesn't come across too strong, too tarry. It's
again balancing them flavours like the other ranges. Yeah, interesting. No, fantastic.
But any questions? Or
no, I mean, listen, you know, it's the first time I've had to try Bladnoch, and I mean, everything that you try, you know, straight from like the introduction to dram, and then obviously the peated side is beautiful. I think for a lot of people that may not have tried Bladnoch, certainly myself, fantastic load of malt to go in for, and incredible stuff. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Cheers.
Thank you.
So guys, we're already halfway through Whisky Live Festival here. We've been speaking to some lovely brand ambassadors, some phenomenal brands, but we wanted to step away somewhere a little bit quiet with Ryan here so that we can discuss the little project that we're working on that we mentioned at the start of the video. Now Ryan, is it fair to say that you're a bit of a Kalila fan?
Oh, love it. Yeah, anything peated, anything Isla is just my go-to.
It's where you started your journey, is what you were saying.
So I mean, you know, a lot of people know me for the photography side of it, so I'm always a little bit guilty of looking at that side, but certainly when it comes down to the flavour, peated whiskey is just a stunner for me. Isla's first place we went to with whiskey, which I think is a fair to say it's the harsher side maybe to start on when you've never had whiskey, but it made me fall in love with it.
Absolutely. So, definitely a great place to start your whiskey journey.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the project that we're working on is all to do with Kalila. As you can see, we've got 2 bottles in front of us here. Both of them are nearly 12-year-old Kalilas. And Ryan's actually got involved with us in this bottling project. So we purchased a couple of casks. We actually purchased 1 sherry butt of Kalila, and we re-racked it into 2 hogsheads. As you'll see, we've got a fresh Palicatado here and then an Oloroso cask as well. So what we wanted to do today is have a little bit of a try.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that these have been finishing in these fresh sherry casks for the last couple of years, and get some of your insights, some of your thoughts as to how you think they're maturing. And hopefully you'll think that they are, at least one of them is ready for bottling later this year.
Fingers crossed.
That's the plan, right? It's lovely to be sitting down with you trying it.
Yeah, likewise, I mean, look, Slanger, best place to have it. I mean, straight away, beautiful.
So obviously Palicatado, Oloroso, quite similar styles of sherry. They're sort of drier, slightly nuttier, Palicatado being the lighter of the two. But for me, I think that this style of sherry really works well with Kalila. In all honesty, Kalila works well in a wealth of different styles of casks, right? I think it's hard to mature Kalila in a bad way. It's such a diverse sort of whiskey. However, I really, really like this style, which is why we decided to go for the sherry. What are your first thoughts?
I think straight away, like you say, you know, it is always difficult with Kalila. Like, I don't think you can make a bad one, but certainly like the Oloroso that I'm smelling here is just stunning. Like the pea and the fruit that comes through, it just marries so well. And I think that's what I love about Kalila. It's just always such an incredible nose, definitely.
Anyway, we can sit here all afternoon, and we probably will sit here all afternoon discussing these whiskies, but for everyone at home, I don't want to give too much away.
No.
Obviously, you're involved in this project, Ryan, and it's great to have somebody like yourself who's part of the community, have a peek behind the curtain.
It's great to be involved.
At what's involved with getting these wonderful whiskies onto the shelves. But for the time being, I think that's enough for you guys at home. Ryan and I are going to finish off these drams, have a bit more of a conversation as to what we think with regards to the Palicatado versus the Oloroso. Maybe at the end of the show, we'll come back and give you just a little bit of an insight as to what we think as to one versus the other and what you might see in the Whiskey Baron lineup later this year. But for now, stay tuned. We'll be back with more from Whisky Live. I'm here with the Dalmore at Whisky Live, and the wonderful brand ambassador here for the day is Greg. Greg, thank you so much for having us. It's lovely to be here.
Pleasure to meet you.
The Dalmore is obviously such a renowned distillery, very, very well known by people at home, our lovely audience. Tell us a little bit about what you've going on, what's interesting happening at the brand at the moment.
Cool, man. I mean, so the Dalmore 12 is probably our staple there. It's pretty wide known as itself. It kind of has that Oloroso cherry cask finish.
Okay.
The Portwood Reserve is it's a fan favorite, I believe. It's a little bit higher in the ABV at 46.5.
Okay.
And again, similar to what we do with the Oloroso, aged in ex-bourbon cask, and then it's finished in this beautiful Portwood, which is a lovely taste to start us off with. I'll give you a wee dram of this one.
Thank you very much. So you're saying bourbon hogsheads for most of the maturation?
For most of the maturation.
And what's the finishing time?
So this one goes to port pipe. So the smaller kind of casks that it finishes with the port. Normally they start around about 350 litres up to about 500 for the port. So these are port pipe finishes.
Okay.
A little bit more of a sweeter touch I find for it. Considering that port should have that dryness I like and that nuttiness into it. Another great expression that we've got today is our cigar. So this is a new kind of, well, new to myself at least, that we've got on the market here. So it's the cigar malt. So similar to the Oloroso, we kind of take from American cask into Oloroso, but there's also a Cabernet Sauvignon cask finish on this one as well.
Okay.
Drop the ABV a little bit to let that kind of wine expression come through as well. We kind of wanted to approach the market for cigar smokers.
Okay.
We feel that smart cigar smokers, whether they drink it with their Scotch whiskies, they also enjoy drinking it with red wines and things. So maybe a little bit of a collaborative affair here for the bottle like that.
I love it. Okay.
Is that something you wanted to give it a little try? I've got a fresh glass for you here.
Oh,
as well.
I'd love to give it a go.
No
Absolutely,
worries,
please.
and
That's,
then at least having them next to each other, you give it a little bit of taste, man.
Definitely.
And then that's our cigar finish.
So the finishes in casks is something that you're obviously very focused on, and I mean right away here on the port you're getting that kind of lovely plumminess to it.
Yep.
It definitely is a robust spirit. Is first fill cask something that you're very focused on, or do you use a range of different sort of strengths of?
I think people are appreciating lots of different kind of styles now. I mean, there's a lot of companies doing these multiple expressions within certain age statements.
Right.
We've taken away the age statements entirely just so we can focus on those finishes, and we want people to kind of enjoy and explore those finishes a bit more. And I think that idea of a collaborative affair with something else, which is that relaxing, chill out kind of vibe, which is what we find with cigar smokers. You know, we want to take the edge off the day, and we use the Dalmore to do that along with a loving cigar. So hopefully that collaborative affair works well.
Fantastic. I was just smoking a wonderful cigar last night. I'm annoyed that I didn't have this in my glass.
I think one of the clients earlier actually said to me, so which cigar would you recommend with this Dalmore? I said, I'd say the closest one to you, as long as it's the Dalmore in the other hand, you know?
And it's really interesting, guys, because people always think about pairing a cigar with a smoky whiskey. But really what you want is something that's a bit sweeter and that will challenge the cigar smoke.
Of course, I want a contrast in the flavours that I'm playing with. Otherwise,
we cut through it, right?
Exactly. Otherwise, what's the point in having those multitude of different cigars and the multitude of different whiskies that, again, we have on display here today?
This is a really, really interesting one for me, actually. It's not one that I've tried for quite a while, and yeah, the wine casks really come through wonderfully. It's very gentle, though. What percentage are we out of these?
So this one is 46.5 ABV here. We're over at 44 here, and we dropped down to 40 on our entry level as well.
Okay. I really like the way this is just that little bit tamer. The Portwood stands up quite nicely in the glass, but this is very gentle, very easygoing.
Exactly. I don't think that you can ever mistake this for being anything other than what it is, which is that Portwood Reserve. I think this one, sometimes people may take a little bit of a smell at the first and then realise, oh, there is another touch there. There is a little bit something different. I'd like to see a blind tasting between them, see if anyone can pick it out. Actually.
Oh, definitely.
We might do that by the end of the day.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, listen, Greg, thank you so much for taking the
you're
time
welcome,
to talk to us about the Dalmore.
Really
It's
nice
been
to
wonderful
meet you.
to learn
Absolute
it.
pleasure.
Guys, stay tuned. We'll go on to the next now.
Enjoy.
So we're cracking away with Whisky Live here, and we bumped into a very good friend who you all know from previous content that we've done, Dan from the Somerton Club. Dan, how are you today?
I am grand.
Enjoying Whisky Live?
I am, and more than that, I get to see friends like you.
Exactly. It's always good bumping into friends. And so we wanted to share some of our whiskies. As we were saying earlier, Ryan and I are working on this really lovely Kalila project. It's always good to get insights from friends and whiskey enthusiasts at these sorts of shows. And again, guys, this is another great reason to go to these sorts of shows. As Dan says, you're going to bump into people maybe you've met online, maybe you haven't met in person, but not only are there great brands here, there are brand owners like the Whiskey Baron and the Somerton Club who come along. Sometimes we bring a little something in our backpacks for friends and fans alike. So we've got 2 Kalilas here for you, Danny boy. Really interested to hear your thoughts on them. Basically, Ryan's got involved with us here at the Whiskey Baron. Obviously, he's got an awesome Instagram page. We really like all of his content that he's putting out. He loves Kalila, and he wanted to get involved in a bottling project. So later this year, we're going to be bottling one or maybe both of these casks together. Lovely to hear what your thoughts are. But Ryan's going to come along. He's going to create some awesome content. There's loads of exciting stuff for you guys to look forward to at home.
I'm going to start with kind of a difficult question.
Go on.
Do you have a favourite child?
I think I'm leaning a certain way, although I think Ryan might be leaning slightly the other way. Isn't that right?
I'm a bit on the verge, to be honest. I mean, earlier I think I was leaning the other way, and then, letting it sit for a couple of minutes. Now, I think I'm kind of in the same ballpark.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've tried it a couple of times. This is the thing. When you get involved in a project, you've got to go back and forth. You get a little taste though, and you're actually the first person outside of the Whiskey Baron and the collaboration with Ryan that's managed to try any of this. So, what are your thoughts?
Oh, wow.
Don't mix them up. You've got the two in order there.
Right and left.
Cool.
Yeah, I feel like
leathery goodness.
Leathery goodness. I like that.
I remember about 2 years ago, I had a tasting note that was the leather seats of a Ford Cortina from my childhood.
Okay.
That is it. That is. It's thick, it's syrupy, the sweetness just supports that depth of flavour that you get so well from the distillate. Oh man.
You're enjoying yourself.
Oh yeah. Don't need to taste anything else now.
So this was the Palacotado. So what we've done is we took a sherry butt of Kalila. It was about 10 years old when we re-racked it. It's been sat in fresh Palacotado, and then the other one you've got is fresh Oloroso for about 2 years now.
Yeah, well, that is worth bottling straight away.
You reckon?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh man, that is delicious. Just got to give myself a break because this could be better.
You know what to prep yourself for.
This is, yeah.
The beautiful thing about Palacotado and Oloroso is obviously they're quite similar style sherries. Palacotado being slightly lighter, Oloroso being a little bit richer and fuller, but both of them kind of dry, nutty.
But it definitely comes through on these bottlings, like you say, Dee.
Having them at 56.1% as well. We're not sure where we're at with strength-wise. We may want to water them down a little bit. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, as they are is phenomenal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one is more of that leathery, Ford Cortina.
Leathery goodness, okay.
This one goes more towards a dry, raisiny, syrupy side of it. The thickness of both is exceptional. It almost sits on your tongue. You get, it's almost a creamy, it's not quite liquid because it wants to stay on there.
Okay.
Yes.
You like
yes.
it?
Bottled.
All right, cool. Well, look, Danny boy, always good to bump into you, my guy. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Well done.
We're going to crack on here at Whiskey Live. We will see you in a bit.
So here at Whisky Live, I'm with Rob from the Cotswolds. So Rob, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Tell us a little bit about Cotswold.
Yeah, English Whisky Distillery set up about 10 years ago, so our 10th anniversary is this year.
Oh, fantastic.
Founded by Dan Jaw, who's just over there.
Yeah.
And, he had 3 things that he wanted to establish when he set up the distillery. He wanted to make a whiskey he would drink, in an area that he would want to live in, and a distillery he would want to visit.
Fantastic, yeah.
So we love our whiskey. The Cotswolds is visited by 3 million people a year, and we get nearly 100,000 visitors at the distillery every year.
I mean, it's a great place to have a distillery. We were just talking, heard great things about the distillery. Apparently it's a beautiful place. I'm yet to visit myself, but I've heard it's incredible.
Always an open invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've heard it's an amazing place. So you've poured a little bit in our glass here, so what are we drinking here?
So what I wanted to pour for you was obviously something that you would have a preference on. You like peated whiskey.
Absolutely.
One thing that we don't have in the Cotswolds is peated malt.
Yeah.
So we make a singular fruity style of liquid. And so what we do is we age in quarter casks from an Islay distillery.
Fantastic.
I'm pretty sure you know which one I mean.
Yeah.
But what you'll notice with this is the nose to palate disparity is quite massive. So it's really soft on the nose, like green apples and some sea salt. But then the palate will be like light Islay whiskey and mezcal had a baby.
Yeah, really interesting to kind of go for the maturing of the barrel rather than obviously the malt itself is really soft, lovely.
Soft, vegetal, herbal, creamy, sweet, salty.
Yeah.
So we age full term in these casks. They're only 125 litres, but it allows us to have something within peated without forcing it. So it's still quite natural.
Which is quite interesting because obviously, English whiskey is kind of, booming the market at the moment, and to kind of bring in that peater side from something like you say, where Isla's so popular, and to pull in a different way the maturation is a really, really good result.
Yeah, and we were always committed to using Cotswolds malt as well, so we only work with a single farm half an hour down the road.
Yeah.
And like I say, because we only make a singular fruity style of spirit, we still appreciate West Coast style.
Yes.
So this is how we were able to bring it to market.
Yeah, fantastic. And in terms of your personal preference, Cotswold, like where do you kind of go? What's your go-to bottle in Cotswold?
Depends on the day.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
We just released a single cask that they allowed me to choose, and it was a Madeira cask.
Oh, fantastic.
But it tasted like Victoria's sponge cake.
Oh, amazing.
So I was all over that.
Quite a happy choice for you then.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's an incredible jam, yeah. And certainly, like you say, you're still a bit behind, like the kind of view that you've got in the distillery is something, bringing that English countryside in, which is such a stunning place, I can imagine, to enjoy this jam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, fantastic. Yeah, perfect. Rob, it's been a pleasure. Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, we are here at the end of Whisky Live 2024, and what a festival it has been. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, yeah.
Wonderful sharing the day with you.
Oh, it's been incredible.
Obviously, we brought along the Kalilas. Not only did you get to try your Kalila cask, but we've also been able to share it with some friends and some industry folk alike.
It's been amazing, get some good insights on it, definitely.
It's great to get the insights, isn't it? It makes all the
always.
difference.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've sampled the whiskey now a few times. Is there a way that you're leaning you want to share with the audience, or do you want to keep it a bit under wraps?
Yeah, do you know what I think? I mean, they're both incredible drams. I think if we said all day, I think I'm leaning towards the PC, to be honest, by the end of it. But honestly, both incredible, and I think they'll be really good when we finally bottle. But yeah, I think I'm leaning towards PC by the end of it, Okay. I was a little bit on the fence at the start, but yes, PC.
Panacottado might just be edging ahead now.
I reckon so.
Fair enough. Well, guys, you'll have to stay tuned. Later in the year, we are going to be bottling loads of whiskies. Ryan's going to be coming along on that trip as well, and that is where we are going to be bottling one, at least, of these Kalilas. So lots to look forward to there. But coming back to Whisky Live, the amazing event that we've been here today, obviously we've shared some great brands with you. We've tried lots of different expressions.
Yes.
Ryan, we said at the beginning we were going to both pick a dream dram, our favorite dram of the day. So what have you got in your glass? What is it that's taken your eye for the day?
So, well, I've been practicing this pronunciation for about 10 minutes now.
Go on.
Ustrusk?
Or Thrusk.
Ustrusk, there we go.
Close
Terrible
enough.
with it, yeah.
Close enough.
So this is a 15-year single cask, that a bit of a rarer jam that they're releasing by the end of this year, but yeah, lovely. Really light on the nose, beautiful jam by the end of it, yeah.
Fantastic. And that's one of the rare find expressions.
That's a rare find expression, yeah. So coming out later this year apparently, so really exclusive at the moment. What about yourself, Jay? What did you go for?
Well, I stuck around the Bushmills stand a little bit longer than we showed on camera. I've got a huge love for Janice and the team there. We shared some of our Kalila with her, and so she shared a couple more drams with me. And one of them was this 21-year-old. 21-year-old Bushmills. It's matured in Madeira casks. I'm really enjoying this kind of slightly nuttier, almost marzipan effect that comes onto the Irish whiskey. It's a great brand, and to be honest, it's a perfect example of why you guys need to get down to events like Whisky Live.
Yeah.
We were here last year. Now it's a bigger venue. We've got more brands. Hopefully next year there'll be even more again. So please get down. You can talk to all these wonderful exhibitors, try all of these beautiful whiskies, bump into friends as we have done today.
Yeah.
And all in all, it's a wonderful time. It's well worth the money. So if you've been wondering where to go, Whisky Live is a great one, but there's lots more to look forward to, and we're going to be showcasing it later in the year on the Whiskey Baron channel. So stay tuned. For now, thank you for having joined us, Ryan.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure, my guy.
Always. Appreciate it.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.